Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Board Game Mechanics. I'm Katie, and with me, as always, is...
Hey, everybody, what's going on? It is Jason.
Welcome to another week of Top 100. I know you're all looking forward to it. I was thinking, we need to get, a bracket or something, do, a playoff thing. What will be the number one game? Will it be the same as last year? I mean, I don't know that we want to start, a betting pool or anything, but,
I mean, maybe. We can try it.
We should make, fantasy team, game leagues.
I don't know how to do that.
I don't know. I was just thinking, if you could put together, a team of, games. But then we have to set all kinds of criteria and, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like an ordeal.
That's true. I just want to bring the fun. What else would make this interesting? But I just like to talk about games, and I really do like the Top 100 because it lets me think about the games I have played. It makes me think about games I want to play, and we always do it kind of leading up to the end of the year and the holiday season, and we tend to be around more people to play games with, so it's nice to kind of get that fuel for my fire to think about what I want to play.
Yeah, and it's also nice that, we can kind of just be on autopilot to kind of end the year off and to talk about games, have some fun, and not have to stress out about episodes, which is nice.
Yes, and so since we've got 10 games each to talk about, let's get started and head right to news. All right, so first up, I only got just a couple. I know Kickstarter's getting a little light again. And this first one is both a game that I enjoy and a holdover theme from Halloween, because unlike some people, I'm not jumping on the it's Christmas bandwagon. Okay, in the United States, we have Thanksgiving next, people. So chill yourselves out. But I want to talk about a new Tanto Cuore game, which y'all know I love. So this is Tanto Cuore Memento Mori Twilight Manor. So the kind of tagline for this is Tanto Cuore goes paranormal. And you come upon this you've inherited this Twilight Manor, which is dormant. There's ghosts. There's kind of dilapidated rooms. And so part of the new mechanics of the game are fixing up those rooms, and you have to get the certain elements on your maids and butlers. Yes, butlers are back. Maids and butlers to help you fix these rooms, but also ghosts can be placed on the rooms, which means you can't fix them if they're there. So getting rid of that. Performing seances. I don't understand how that works out, but they're supposed to help with the goals as well. General employing your maids and butlers. They're trying to keep the ghosts at bay too. It sounds like some really neat changes to the Tanto Cuore game. And as always, they're like, hey, you could mix this with the other Tanto Cuores. You could take your ghosts on a date or something. It's just strange. But again, the artwork is awesome. It has a creepy, like I said, a holdover Halloween feel, which I'm a huge fan of. I mean, anime goes gothic. Yes, please. I love that they're giving equal time to maids and butlers. So a majority of the maids that I've seen in the pictures, the mock-up art, look fairly well dressed. From what I can tell, there is one that is questionable, very, very questionable. However, there are also butlers, and there is a butler that is not wearing a shirt and he is ripped out. There's another butler in a wife beater. I mean, they're trying. This is equality, and I'm here for it. And, I love a good deck builder, which is what the Tanto Cuore's games are all about at their basic heart of it all. And I'm pretty pumped for this new edition. So if you like Tanto Cuore, if you've heard me talk about it, or you like deck builders and you want more of a creepy theme, maybe Halloween, check out Tanto Cuore Memento Mori Twilight Manor. 6 days left on that Kickstarter, and it is $49.
Yeah, this seems interesting. It seems like it's way different than some of the other ones. It's a bigger box. I do know that. I've heard a crown-sized box. So, yeah, it looks cool. Different mechanics, different theme. I kind of dig it. So, yeah, more Tanto Cuore is always a good thing.
Right. And I like that it's not just, let's take the same thing and, just change the cards around. It's actually adding mechanics. So the next one is a game from Game Brewer, which is a publishing company that Jason is a big fan of. For example, Paris, which we do love, or Arkwright the card game, which is large and barely a card game, or Gugong, or Hippocrates, which I really want to play, or Palaces of Carrara, which Jason has recently gotten into. Ooh, is that a spoiler?
Yeah, it might be.
The game that's on Kickstarter now from Game Brewer is called Delta. Now, Delta has this crazy theme that they've applied to it about it's like steampunk and you're getting these crystals from this Delta area. I honestly am like, okay, that's a little contrived. But you are assembling a team of explorers, scientists, engineers, these kind of specialists in this adventure, which is exploring this Delta region. And it reminds me a lot of games like Coinbra or even a little bit like Feudum, but hopefully more enjoyable, where you've got different areas of the board that are allowing you to do different things. So there's these 3 sections of the board. You're placing your team members, which are cards, out on these different areas of the board to do different things. And so one of them is like a map where you're actually moving around the Delta and placing flag markers. And sometimes you need special either people or equipment to get to certain places. You might need like an airship and a pilot. There's also a workshop where you're moving up this track to improve like engineering, and that helps you with these inventions. It'll give you points and help you do other things in the game. You then have like this completely other section about animals, but they're going with a steampunk theme. So I think they're like mech animals, but it's like a turtle, a flamingo, a horse, a bull. And so you're getting rid of characters to kind of learn more about animals, but like that can give you points. So it looks like all these different places are for different points. You can publish scientific papers by kind of getting rid of some of the things that you have to get points for those as well. You get new character cards, new animal cards, new mission cards, like each round. So lots of choices, and it really looks like lots of ways that you can go about crafting a win, which I am a big fan of. And the artwork is pretty dope. Like it's looks really nice. And Game Brewer I think always puts out really great games too. So if you're interested, like worker placement, kind of multiple mechanic balancing kind of thing, check out Delta. There's 6 days left also on that Kickstarter, and it's $74.
Yeah, I love Game Brewer games. They have great art. They're usually at least, medium to crunchy euros. My only beef is they're a little on the pricey
expensive
side, which this is, no exception. But it's nice production. It's good quality. And, they're coming from Belgium. So
yes,
probably some crazy shipping and all that stuff. So I get it. But yeah, dang, that's high.
Yeah, but it does look like it's a little bit of a crunchier game, which I like to see that always. And those are my games for news today.
All right, so we're going to talk about some games that we played. We have one that's been on our shelf for a long time that we just busted out recently again and played it. And we have 2 others that we don't own but are different, and we wanted to talk about them. So let's get started on that. And the first game that we're going to talk about is the one that we own, and it is called Everdell. And this is a cute little worker placement tableau / engine building game where you're sending your little creatures out to different spaces on the board to try to collect cute little resources. There's berries and, amber, whatever it is. I don't remember what it is.
Resin,
yeah. Twigs and pebbles. And you're using those resources to pay for cards. You're going to get buildings, and then there's going to be critters. Now, if you build a building, each of those buildings, not all of them, but some of those buildings will allow you to play the critter that lives in those buildings for free on another turn. Because on your turn, you're either going to place a worker, or you're going to play a card, or you're going to pass to the next season. And you're just trying to be as efficient as you can, gathering these resources, playing these cards, building the engine to score as many points as you can at the end of the game. Beautiful art. A silly tree that doesn't serve any purpose, but looks cool on the board. But really, really solid game. I still like it. Every time I play this game, I like it more and more. We just don't play it a ton because, again, we have so many other games. But it's so good, and I think it helps that I did win this because I'm pretty good at winning this game for some reason. But yeah, it's really good. So how'd you feel about Everdell this time?
Yeah, I like it. I honestly didn't do like there are times when games like this that are cute and like they're so open that I'm like following random like creatures and things just for funsies, and then I'm like, oh, maybe you should have paid more attention to what you're doing. But this I feel like was good. Like I actually was like, oh, you could develop a strategy here to play this. And I did. Like I went all in on these like the green cards, which are like cards that give you resources when you build them into your tableau. And then at the 2 growth seasons, they give you things as well. And so I was like trying to get them to play off of each other. And I love games like that. Like I remember thinking, and honestly, like I feel like I should re-rank maybe my top 100 because I had ranked Everdell kind of low because I just felt like I didn't feel like it was really a game where I was competitive or that it just kind of was whatever happened. But I felt this time like I did a better job of paying attention to like synergy of cards and things. And there were 5 of us. No, 4 of us.
4 of us.
And I felt like we cycled through the cards better than I think we have in previous games of it that we've played. So you got to see more things, more options come out. And I liked that because I thought that helped me decide what cards to get rid of and when to pick up some more. And this is now becoming really easy to find. I've seen it at Target. So I think it can go from that really light, oh, let's make a cute little city, to even like, okay, let me work out some kind of engine with my cards and create this really great synergy and be competitive. So at all levels of gaming, I think it's there because you've got the great production components, all of those things that draw people in. But it can work for heavier gamers too. So I really enjoyed it this time more than I had in the past.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 like big expansions too that add extra boards and extra stuff. So if the basic game is just too bland for you, you can go mix it up with some of that, which is cool.
Yeah, I never wanted to. I was like, why would I bother with getting, the expansions? But now I'm like, ooh, I think maybe I feel good enough about this that I might give this a go.
Yeah, at least one.
Yeah.
All right, so the next game is kind of a game that I'd never heard of and seems like, hey, why are we playing this game? But a friend, Chris, brought it over, and it is a game called Monster Baby Rescue. And the reason I wanted to play this is because it was Vladimir Suchy, and I'm a big fan of Vladimir Suchy. And it looked like a Vladimir Suchy game that was directed towards kids or families. It's not as light as a kid's game, but it's fairly light. And effectively what you're doing in this game is you are trying to clean up and make your little monster happy. That's the goal of the game. And the way you're doing that is by you're drafting these different things. You may draft a bed. You may draft a toy. You may draft something that helps you clean your animal, which means you flip over a tile or get rid of a tile. You're trying to get from level 1 to level 4 on 3 different parts of your animal to score points. But whenever you draft a tile, it's going to move your character so many spaces. So say I draft a 4, I'll move 4 spaces on this board. The farther you move, the longer it's going to take for you to take a turn again. So then you're at the mercy of what other people are taking. And at the end of the game, you're going to get points for, there's instant points you can get through the game, like if you're the first person to hit certain thresholds or get some gems or whatever. Then at the end of the game, you're going to score points based on what level your monsters are on, how well you did collecting beds, gems, toys, all that kind of thing. And then whoever has the most points is the winner. It's a really simple game to play. It was cute, and I liked it. It's definitely, I think it would probably be marketed as a kid's game, but we were adults and I played it and had fun. So yeah, that's good. So that was Monster Baby Rescue. How'd you feel about that?
Like I feel bad. Like it was okay, but I would never choose it myself. How's that? Like I don't hate it, but it would not be my choice to play it because it's just
I think Rory would like it. She'd probably play it and have fun.
Yeah, I mean, like the art was cute, and like when you flip over these little monsters, like I had a chimera maybe, and like it got a pretty crown, and it got like gold bands on its tail. So like, that was kind of fun. But yeah, I don't think I would choose it
Yeah, I mean, it's not something I want to play all the time either, but I'm glad I played it. It was fun, and it only takes like 20 minutes, so it was kind of you could use it as a nice filler or something.
For sure.
If you're looking for something like that. And the next game we played, our friend Chris also brought over, and we played it with him and his wife Amy, and it is called Burgle Brothers 2. Now, I've never played Burgle Brothers 1. I don't know what the differences are other than what Chris said. I think the first one is not set in a casino. Burgle Brothers 2 is set in a casino. And Burgle Brothers 2 also has some campaign elements where, you can do different missions and stuff. I don't know if the first one does that or not. So we're just going to talk about Burgle Brothers 2. But this game is a cooperative game where, depending on the scenario you pick, you're trying to break into this safe that's going to be somewhere on the second floor, I believe, or I think it's always on the second floor. And you're trying to do that to get these dice to break a code, all the while avoiding the bodyguards. And then once you've cracked the safe, then there's a second part of the mission, which if you're not dead or, captured, arrested, whatever the actual terminology is, you can try to do that. But good luck. It's a pretty simple game. On your turn, you have, I think, 4 actions or something. I can't remember. 4 action points. Yeah, 4 action points, and basically everything costs an action. Moving into a room costs an action. You can move upstairs if you have the escalator. You can use different rooms for actions. You can clean up some of the security cam footage that the bodyguard's doing for some actions. When you move into a room, maybe you get an event card. That's an action. You can try to crack the safe. If there's enough dice up there, you can send a dice up to the safe from the office to help people crack the safe. Just so much stuff you can do. There's even special abilities that you can play during other people's turn to help them minimize their risk of going to jail and all that stuff. It's a pretty cool game. It was kind of brutally hard, I think. We were playing one of these where you had to crack a safe and then get 2 celebrities back out. And we were basically almost all the way arrested or dead before we even cracked that safe. So I don't know how we would have even started to go through the second half of that game. And yeah, it was rough. But it's a really interesting, it has some really cool production. Like you use the box as part of the board. It's 2 stories, which is pretty neat. You don't have to play it like that. You can just put them next to each other, I believe, on the table as well. But it looked cool. And I had a good time. Again, I'm not the hugest fan of cooperative games, but the theme was cool. Kind of felt like Ocean's 11, 12, or 13. You're in there trying to steal the 5 diamonds from Al Pacino or whatever in Ocean's 13. That's kind of what it felt like. And I just enjoyed it. So how do you feel about Burgle Brothers?
Yeah.
Burgle Brothers 2.
Burgle Brothers 2. I liked it. It went on a little long, and some of that was because like my dice rolls were terrible. Like at first we're like, yes, it's great. My character strolls in. And then you're flipping over tiles and tokens. And the thing is, like, I feel like a lot of the rooms in this are negative for you. So that's bad. But like the tokens can maybe have positive or negative effects, whether you peek or you actually go in the room. So I ended up like being the first one in. My character stumbled across this drunk token, which made me like slide across the basically entire floor. But like right away, we found this office we needed. And then I drunkenly slid over to find the escalator to go upstairs. But then I don't know if like managing 2 floors was too much, if having 4 players was too much. I didn't know about what like special powers we might need. And so I just picked a character based on who I thought looked cool. But even some of like those special powers and like what we were doing inspired some storytelling aspects that I thought were really funny. It did feel tense. There's a lot of tension with rolling and moving and the security guards moving around. The components were pretty dope. So like, yeah, I think it was fun. It was hard. I don't know how, like we were going at it for so long. And then, we were very close to being arrested. We had so much heat, each of us, that once we opened the safe, we had to find these celebrities in our scenario and like drag them out, and it was never going to happen. So I don't know if it's just hard or we played it poorly, but it's not. I would do it again.
All of the above.
Or both. I would totally do it again, just to see. But I don't like games that are super mean to you, so that's probably why I would not be in a hurry to pick this again. But it's still, the theme was cool. There are lots of cool things about it.
The theme was awesome. I'm not even wrapped up in theme that much, but I love the Oceans movies, and it did kind of feel like that. Like, it definitely felt like you were in that world.
Yeah, I'm a fan of a good heist. A good heist, a good caper. Yeah, I do love that.
Yeah. So the theme was fun, and, I enjoyed it. But I would like to play it, not even with the missions, just let's crack the safe and be done, because even that in itself was a puzzle and a challenge, and I thought it was fine. It was fun. So, yeah. All right, so those are 3 games we played. Let's keep going.
All right, as always, well, not as always, but as you now know, our main feature is our top 100 games of all time. And we say all time because I think we sorted through like over 600 games that we've played since we started tracking the games that we've played to get to our top 100 games. And for me, like, this list like shook me, honestly, this time around. The stuff that came up to the top and the stuff that went down, like, I can't believe where things are and how things have shifted and what's shifting. And today we're going to cover numbers 90 through 81. So we're still kind of early on our top 100, but because we have played so many games and so many good games, these are all excellent. These are all games. If you came over and said, hey, I got it, I'm like, yeah, let's play it right now. So Jason is going to kick us off with his number 90.
All right. So my number 90, Katie kind of gave you a little hint that it was coming up, and it is from Game Brewer. And I've played this game. I don't know. I just got it a couple weeks ago. So this is, probably new to the list because I played it the most. Played it 7 or 8 times. Most of it's online, a couple times in real life. And it is called The Palaces of Carrara. And this is the 2nd edition, the reprint from Game Brewer. It's from Kramer and Kiesling. And this is a game where you are trying to collect these different colored bricks. And you're using these bricks to build different types of buildings in one of the 5 or 6 cities on your player board. I think there's 6. And based on where you build this city is going to determine what kind of income it's going to produce you when you take a scoring action. And on your turn, you're either going to decide to take cubes or building blocks, you're going to build a building, or you're going to score. And after so many scoring actions have happened, meaning one person has scored all of their little scoring pillars, the game is going to end. So it's kind of like this battle of trying to build, trying to get as best buildings as you can, but you don't want to score too quickly, because if you could end the game too quickly before you've had enough chance to do anything, but you don't want to wait too long because maybe you'll lose out in the good spots from your opponent. So it's like this back and forth, like trying to figure out when to score, when's the perfect time to score, when do I want to build buildings, take blocks and all that stuff. It looks fantastic, and I like it. It's a good Euro game. So my number 90, Palaces of Carrara.
I have yet to play this.
Most of the plays have been online, so that's majority of it.
Oh, okay. You are always playing.
Playing
Jason?
with Fred.
Freddie. My husband doesn't play games in real life because he's too busy playing games online with you. But you did send hot sauce, so you might get a pass on that one, Fred.
That's true. You did.
He used to be my favorite. Wah, wah, wah.
Don't talk to Fred like that.
Do you want to get started? You want to start this?
No, not really.
Okay, I didn't think so. And looking at my list, I just called an audible because the game that I picked I didn't like as well as some other games I saw later on in my list. So my next game is actually a little game that I made Jason buy me when we were on a recent anniversary trip. I think it was celebrating 15 years. And we were at a game store because what else do you do when you're gamers on an anniversary trip? And that game is Walking in Burano. So there is a bigger game, Burano, right?
Yeah, I don't think they're related though.
But I don't think they're related. But this game is the kind of thing I love. So Walking in Burano, it's a family game. It's cards for the most part. I guess they're cards. I was like, they're not tiles.
Yeah, it's all cards.
It's all cards. Yeah. And so you're trying to build kind of like a tableau, which is a street in Burano that you see as you're walking. And you've got different levels of buildings. So you've got the first floor, the middle floor, and the rooftop. There are stores that can be part of your kind of cityscape. There are different decorations, some animals, on all these different places. And there are certain rules about what kind of cards you can lay down next to each other. So it's this really interesting little puzzle that you're trying to work out. And not only you're trying to draft and lay cards in based on these specific rules, but then you're also trying to use like tourists and locals in addition to what you've got going on with your houses / stores in your city. But you're trying to then use them to maximize the points that you can get based on maybe the decorations you have, or if there's cats, or if there's a lot of chimneys, all these different little things. Like, I just really like it. It's super easy. But again, like, some of the choices are really hard. Like, do I take this? Do I use my one pass to break the rule, to put this color next to the same color? Okay, how do I get the right tourists here? I've got like 15 chimneys, so I need to get Santa Claus. I actually don't know if it's Santa Claus. I think so.
It is Santa Claus.
I think it is Santa Claus. Yeah. He wants chimneys, or like, crazy cat lady or whatever, because I've got like a bunch of cats in my layout. Like, I just really, I love games like that. Little boxes, really easy turns, but like really cool choices. So my number 90 is Walking in Burano.
That's a good one. I don't think it made my list, but it is a good one. My number 89 is another new game, but I've played it a bunch, and Push Your Luck is my thing. And I know you don't care about this as much as me, but this one's called Port Royal. It's an Alexander Pfister game. It's basically a deck of cards, and you're flipping some cards, trying to score as many points as you can without busting. And the way that you would bust is you're going to be flipping cards. If you get two of the same color ship and you can't like defend against one of them, you will bust. But otherwise, if you can get a certain number of ships, you can draft some cards from the middle, spending some money to get characters for points, taking a ship to get some coins, all that kind of thing. And then other people can buy cards on your turn by giving you some coins as well to help you when it's your turn later. Just a race to 12 points. It's real simple. I enjoy it. So yeah, that's why it's on my list. So number 89, Port Royal.
I did not enjoy this, so it's not on my list. It's just
that's why I said you didn't like it.
I know. My number 89 is like a kind of beefier game, and we haven't played this for a while, but I'd be interested to pull it back out. And that's Smartphone Inc. So Smartphone Inc., I think that one dumb guy that's on the Boardgame Rundown that we, listen to sometimes, he's talking about how the box cover looks really dumb on this and it's ugly, and it's true. Dan, I'm talking about you.
Oh, yeah. I was like, which one?
It's Dan. I mean, someone whose name rhymes with fan. So, and yes, the box cover is really dumb. And it's pretty basic art on the inside. And a lot of people talk about this like an economic simulation game or whatever. And I don't like economic games, but there are lots of other things going on in this game that makes me like be able to overlook the economic portion. So you're running your own smartphone empire. And I think that's why I like it, is I think the theme is cool. Another reason why I like a game like The Networks, where I am like, this is my empire, and what am I going to do? Like, what kind of technology am I going to invest in, and where am I going to invest in it? And like, what am I going to need in the future? And like, yes, there's some market type stuff happening. And maybe I don't pay much attention to that very well. Because I'm, doing other things, but I just like that idea of looking at all the different aspects of phone companies. Like, if I have a phone company, in Africa, they're not as concerned if I have like 5G or whatever. They're going to want something else, and so I need to invest in that technology, and getting points through all these different ways, selling at the right time, selling phones to the right people at the right time. I don't know. There's just something about this game that really interests me. And it's been a while since we played it, so maybe I'm remembering it like more favorably than I should. But I really enjoyed this and I'd like to play it again. So my number 89 is Smartphone Inc.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this made my list. I just couldn't remember it enough. I just remember the action selection thing was cool.
Oh, yeah. Which you couldn't figure out was like...
Yeah. It was supposed to mimic a phone. Yeah.
Yeah. That was fun.
I'm not smart. All right. So my number 88 is a game that I don't know if we played. I think we might have played it a couple times. I'm not sure. But it's a game called Colosseum. Mm-hmm. And our version is the Tasty Minstrel version. It was originally published by Days of Wonder. And all this game is, at its heart, is a auction/trading set collection game. And what you're trying to do is you are trying to get different pieces, which are little tiles, to put on different like plays, shows in your arena to impress Caesar or whoever the character is.
In your Colosseum.
Again, Colosseum, yeah, whatever. The theme is irrelevant, but that's what you're trying to do. You're going to have, and when it's your turn, you're going to pick a section. You're going to try to auction off these sections. Then after that is done, everybody can trade how they want to. And you're just trying to get the appropriate pieces that you need to put on your performance, to score points, to build up your Colosseum, and just win the game. That's it. It's all auction, all set collection, but it's a good time. It's not super hard. It may go on a little bit long, but it's definitely a cool game. So my number 88, Colosseum.
I like this one quite a bit. In fact, more than you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we played it more, it'd probably be higher on mine.
My number 88 is a hideous game. I mean, a hideous game of hideous games. The only saving grace might be that there, I think, are colored gems. And they're like, the most basic kind, like one step up from being fishbowl rocks. But I really like this game, and it's called Toledo. Now, you may be surprised, like I was, to find out that Toledo is designed by Marty Wallace.
You love Martin Wallace. I don't know why you're acting like you're surprised by it.
I am. There are only 2 games I like by Martin Wallace, and this is one of them.
Brass?
No. Big hint, not Brass. There is one other Marty Wallace game in my top 100, and it will be revealed much, much later. Toledo, like, it has this really stupid, I would say stupid theme, but the theme is on it is you're trying to forge these swords in the city of Toledo in Spain, not in Ohio.
Yeah, not Toledo, Ohio. It's not way more exciting than that.
Yeah. So you are moving around, you're moving people around, you are going to acquire like steel and jewels. So you're making these swords, and they're also going to be like good looking, to then sell them for points. But the movement is interesting because you are moving based on the cards in your hand, and you can move multiple times in one turn if you have multiples of the same number of cards. And then if people are, going to spaces where you kind of like own it, sort of, you have a stand or whatever, then you get cards from them too, which apparently is a valid strategy in Toledo because one of the times we played it, that's all I did. But I just think, again, like multiple paths to victory, are you going after like these big, really embellished swords? Are you, trying to put yourself in strategic places on the pathway because you're kind of moving up to like the fort where you're going to deliver the swords? I just really think that there's a lot of interesting things here in a really hideous looking game. So it just has really stuck out to me. We don't own this, but I wish we did because surprisingly, even though it's, it's Marty Wallace, I can't believe that you don't have this. It's pretty cheap, I think, because it's so ugly. Yeah, there's a copy on the Geek Market that's new for $15.
Yeah, I do want this eventually. I'll get it.
But yeah, so my number 88 is Toledo.
Yeah, I like the game. I'm not sure if it's on my list, but I do like that one. You stomped me so bad at it that I kind of think I blacked it out.
It made me feel real good.
All right, my number 87 is a game that I played a couple times IRL. That means in real life for those of you who are old like me. And a bunch of times online. I mean, a bunch of times.
With Fred?
No, I've actually just played against randos on Boardgame Arena.
Ooh, he's cheating on you, Fred.
Maybe Fred once. I don't know. But it's Puerto Rico. I should play it with Fred. Yeah, maybe I'll reach out to Fred about playing Puerto Rico. But Puerto Rico it's like the granddaddy of that mechanism where everybody picks an action and someone picks an action and everybody else gets to do it. It was one of the first big games that did that. But at its heart, what it is, you're trying to get money. You're trying to build buildings on your little tableau. You're trying to build different types of plantations that will grow different like resources for you to use to build said buildings, to trade on the boat. And you're also trying to get colonists to come in to work in your buildings and on your plantations. Not a great theme, I understand that, but the gameplay is pretty smooth. It's definitely not a looker either. It looks absolutely horrendous, but the gameplay makes up for that. There's a lot of stuff to think about, a lot of stuff you can do in your turn. And the fact that you're always doing something every turn is what I kind of like that. There's no downtime at all because everybody's doing something always, and that's fun. So my number 87, Puerto Rico.
I don't think I've played this one. I think I've only played San Juan.
Yeah, similar. It's the same theme, just way lighter. Yeah.
I don't know. When you described it, I'm like, oh yeah, it sounds exactly like the game I played.
Well, the actions are the same. You just do a lot more in Puerto Rico.
Okay. My number 87 is a game that Jason hates. And I'm going to figure out why. We're going to work on this, I think, because I loved it so much. And that game is The Search for Planet X. I love deduction. And even though I hate space, the pure deduction portion of this, like, oh my gosh, I was so into it. It reminds me of the best parts for me of The Alchemist, which is another deduction game that I like. And this functions similarly. But the way that without the worker placement part, which in general, I like.
That's the part I like.
Well, but I don't know. Some parts of that I feel like bog down The Alchemist when I'm just here for deduction. And the app integration is cool, which I'm not like gung ho about always using apps. But it keeps track of things and I think it helps make sense. The idea of like, oh, here's some asteroids and we have this many asteroids and, have you found them and marking them off on your sheet and, really thinking through like, okay, so what possibly could be here? And I loved it. I loved the puzzly deduction portion of this. The idea that, you're in this really cool, like telescope and moving around. You also can publish your findings with things that you think, which also reveals some stuff to people as well. It helps the deduction part. Yeah, it's so good. And I want to play it some more. And that's my number 87, Search for Planet X.
Yeah, the gameplay was fine. It's just I did so bad that it instantly left a terrible taste in my mouth. Like, it was awful. It was like I didn't even show up. You could have just had like some kid sitting there and it would have ended exactly the same. I
couldn't figure out what you were doing on your turns.
I was trying to figure stuff out. I'm not good at these games. Remember, you had to teach me how to play Clue. Remember that?
I know. I think if I taught you how to play this, though, then you would be fine.
Maybe. I need to watch you and see what you do. That's for sure.
Follow the master.
All right, moving on. My number 86 is a game we've had for a little while, at least since last year, I'm pretty sure. And it is called The Taverns of Tiefenthal. And this is from the designer of Quacks of Quellenberg, which is a game, spoiler, will be much higher on my list. And in this game, what you're doing is you are drafting dice to use those dice to acquire new cards to put into your deck and ultimately make beer or other alcohol products and deliver those goods to customers to score points. And you're also trying to move around this track to help you get benefits and score more points, get extra cards, all that kind of thing. And you're just trying to do all that, upgrade your tavern, have more beer storage, all that kind of thing, the best you can to score the most points. It actually has kind of a lot going on when you mix all the modules in, which you always should play that way. And it's just fun. We don't play it a ton anymore, really, but looking at the box makes me want to play it. And there is a new expansion that I would like to try. Maybe that'll make it even crazier and more fun. So, yeah, my number 86, The Taverns of Tiefenthal.
Do we have the expansion?
No, I'm not even sure if it's out in America yet. Okay. I don't know that for sure.
This is higher on my list, but I would like to play it to confirm that that's where it should be. My number 86 is a game that I don't think we talked about in our spooky games, but we could have, and we probably did last year. And that is the Bloody Inn. I love the artwork of this game, and the theme I just think is hilarious. So it's a card game, and you are a murderous innkeeper. And you are filling inns with guests, and then you are trying to kill the guests and hide their bodies before the cops show up, or else kill off the cops so they can't turn you in. You want to always do more in your turn. You only get one action, and it's like, gosh, this is so annoying. Because you're trying to get things done quickly. You're trying to get money. Money is hard to come by, to have cash, to have people to help you, like bury bodies and kill off people and all kinds of things like that. Like it's just so fun. And it's actually based on a true story, which I think makes them even more interesting. We also have the expansion for this, which is Carnies, right?
Yeah, Carnies.
Which ups the creep factor and adds like a couple of different elements, which I think make the game even more fun. Again, very simple as far as what you actually do on a turn, but difficult choices, and just a fun, hilarious theme. It's actually, like, in looking at all the ads around BGG, very affordable, totally out there, and I think more people need to play this. So my number 86 is the Bloody Inn.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's good at all player counts too, because it scales. You take cards out of the deck. It's just fantastic. I'm pretty sure it's higher on my list, but again, I haven't looked at my list except for what's on this week, so who knows? So my number, what did you say, 86? My number 85 is actually a new game that we played this year at JuliaCon, and it left an impression. Mm-hmm. Only played it one time, but we now own it, and that game is called Hallertau. And this is an Uwe Rosenberg game, or Uwe, however you want to say his name. And it's a game about, well, farming, because that's what Uwe does best. But the interesting thing about this one is everybody has the same kind of workers. There's these little blue cubes, and you're all sharing a worker placement board. And there are different, each of the actions have 3 different spaces you can go to. The first person to go there gets to spin 1 cube, then 2, then 3. So depending on how quickly you want to take an action, you may go there first. But someone might beat you there, so you got to spend more cubes. But then the other interesting piece is you're trying to upgrade this like house that's on this board. It kind of moves along the board. And you're trying to move these boulders out of the way. You're trying to upgrade these production buildings because you want to get this house to move as far along as you can to be able to score a pile of points. I didn't score a lot of points, so I'm assuming that's what you're supposed to do. And there's also cards that you can complete throughout the game, which are going to help you in income, different phases of the game, and more ways to score points for in-game goals and all that kind of thing. So much stuff going on. That's an oversimplification. It's a big, beefy Euro game, but it's definitely a good one. So my number 85, Hallertau.
Yeah, this one is actually a little bit higher on my list because I'm a big fan of the farming games. My number 85 is a game that I have championed, I think, for a long time. There was an expansion. Have we played that one yet?
I don't know what you're talking about. No, we have not. It's in our box. We have not played yet.
And that game is Bargain Quest. So Bargain Quest is like a card drafting game, but I really like the theme. So you are a shopkeeper in a town where adventurers come through because there's monsters. So they're going to go off and fight the monsters. So you're going to draft items to put inside your shop to attract heroes. And you place some in your window, and then you have some in your stock. The key is, like, you can't really sell the one in your window, only the one in your stock. And so you're trying to sell as much as you can to an adventurer to get the most money out of them. Whether they win or lose the battle, you don't care. You just want the money. So then you can hire employees. You can upgrade your shop. The artwork is cute. Each of the shops, like, looks different. There is an expansion, which we have not played, as I previously mentioned. But I really like this game. The only kind of bummer, I think, for us playing it is it's 3 is the minimum. No, you can play it 2.
I think you could play it at 2, but it would definitely benefit with more people.
It is better at more. You can play up to 6. I would say the 4 to 5 range is good. But I think it's got a quirky little theme. Once you can get people to get your minds around it, like, we played this once and it was a bad experience because people we played it with were being turds and like were poo-pooed it and like didn't give it a chance. We're like, it's too random. I just, you can't win. And I'm like, it's because you're terrible at it. And you're not making the most of what you have. So since then, I've had some good times with it. I would like to get it out again, just to kind of chase away that bad taste in my mouth that someone else gave me. But I really like the game Bargain Quest, number 85.
Yeah, it's a good one. I definitely enjoy it. I'm not sure where it is on my list, probably because we haven't played it in a long time, but I do like it.
Yeah.
My number 84 is actually a game from Simon. And I think Eric M. Lang is part of this. Yes, Eric M. Lang and Antoine Bauza. And this is Victorian Masterminds. And this is a great little game. It's a kind of a worker placement game, sort of. You're sending these little gears that you have out that all have a special ability face down to these locations. Once they get three people on these locations, they'll activate, and then your power will fire off. And you're trying to collect bolts and nuts, different kinds of books to score points. You're trying to steal these buildings from these locations, and you're ultimately trying to build your doomsday machine. Whoever completes their doomsday machine first ends the game, and then whoever has the most points after all that is done is the winner. It's got some cool little minis, of course, Simon, that are completely unnecessary, but the buildings all look really nice. These little scientist guys are cool. It's a great game. I really like it a lot. And yeah, so my number 84, Victorian Masterminds.
Yeah, I like this too. I think I like this a couple weeks more than you. My number 84 is a game that I rave about. And I honestly would say it's criminal that it's this low on my list. But part of the thing is when I make my list, I'm also thinking about gaming experiences. So games that are 2-player, games that are solo, games that, people don't want to play with me. They tend to drop lower. This probably should be my number 1 game of all time, really, because of how much I love playing it. And that's Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. Now, some people will say it's not a game, it's an experience, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I love it. I am a big fan of Sherlock Holmes in general, the literature, the character, so many of the reiterations from Basil Rathbone to Benedict Cumberbatch to Great Mouse Detective from Disney. Like, I love them all. And so this takes the best parts of Sherlock Holmes, that deduction, like you are the armchair detective chasing down your own leads. And they've actually improved it, I think, with each. And I think there are 5 now. If I'm thinking correctly,
yeah,
can you see them?
Yeah, we have 3 minus the first one. And then I think there's like the Cthulhu one. Yes. So there's 5 total. Yep.
So they've actually kind of improved and changed things. The very first one, Astari, so there's some translation issues, whatever. I never felt like they got in the way. Personally, so far, my favorite has been Jack the Ripper and the West End Mystery. Oh my gosh. That Jack the Ripper, it's a series of cases and they're all building on each other and it's like tense and oh my gosh, it's so good. And they had like the Carlton House and the Queen's Park one, which gives you a different map and like things happen in a mansion and you're moving around and that changes a lot of what you're doing. The one after that is the one I'm currently working on. And that is the Baker Street Irregulars. And so then they've kind of changed things where there's like time elements almost. Like if I show up, as you find out evidence, you're crossing off these letters on like this little track. And if you show up to a place to follow a lead, previously, like if you show up, you happen to stumble upon the right place and you get the information, bonus for you. This, if you show up and it's like, oh, have you crossed off the letter R? Well, if you haven't, you don't get the information because you didn't get led there. And that makes it like even tighter of a game to follow the logical trail to make things happen. Like, oh, it's just so fantastic. I haven't looked at or played the new one, which takes you to America and has like a Cthulhu, elder god cult kind of theme in the background. It has less cases than the other ones, so I'm like, but it is cheaper, which I'm glad that they did that, because I think, again, if I'm only going to have 7 cases instead of 10, it should be cheaper, or 6 or something. And they have employed another mechanic similar to the Baker Street regulars in that also, that I'm not quite sure how that works. But again, they're just tightening up the gameplay and making it better, and making something that I think is really great and enjoyable. One of my best friends and I, we loved this. We played a case in Baker Street regulars where we're crying about the main character because it was about kind of his backstory at the orphanage. We're like crying at the end. Like, the writing is getting so good. The cases are so good and clever. It's just a great, if you love mysteries and like figuring stuff out, like, yes, Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, chef's kiss. Number 84.
Yeah, I don't really like that game, but I'm glad you like it.
Don't I make it sound so good?
You do, yeah. You make it sound way better than it is.
Oh my gosh, you're wrong.
Number 83 for me is a cooperative game, and I know Katie doesn't like this one, but every time I play it, I have a great time. It's so brutal, but it's so fun to play, and that is the Lord of the Rings. And this is a game from Rainer Knizia. It's from either the late 90s, early 2000s, so it's fairly old. But
it's ugly.
Yeah, it does. It's not a looker, that's for sure. No. But the gameplay is I like it. It's engaging. You're just playing. You're trying to play cards. Basically, you're playing cards to match symbols to move up on these tracks. But you're also trying to avoid these events that happen that will slap you around. You're trying to make sure you have enough cards to mitigate some of the stuff that happens. You may have to skip a turn to move away from Sauron, because if at any point, if the ring bearer gets captured by Sauron, the game's over and everybody loses. So you're trying to throw the ring into Mount Doom before all that stuff happens. And yeah, that's it. I like it. It's brutal. It's hard. I think I won it maybe one time, but it's fun. So my number 83, Lord of the Rings.
It's so mean it's not fun.
Oh, it was pretty mean when we went Nerdapalooza too with those new things in there.
My number 83 is, who does this? I know it's Vincent Dutray art, but I don't even know why I thought I would remember a designer.
It is, I actually don't know who the designer is on this. It's not Vincent Dutray, it's Ian O'Toole.
Oh yeah, Ian O'Toole. That's what I mean. Ian O'Toole, artwork. Okay, Joshua Gerald Balvin. Who knows? But the game is called Fool's Gold. How old is this game? 2015. Okay, it seems old. It's got this old-timey look to it. But I love the theme on this one because I think it makes it really fun. So in Fool's Gold, you are mining for gold. You're part of the gold rush. And there's these different areas to mine in, like the river and the hills, which, of course, I'm always going to say there's gold in them there hills, like every time we mine in the hills. I can't stop myself. There's forest. So you're rolling these dice that kind of determine which mining camps are open. You are then adding your little workers to go there, and then you mine. And the deck is the mine, and the deck has gems. The deck has gold, but the deck's also got fool's gold. The deck also shows you bad weather. The deck's got just plain dirt, and it is random. Which is so thematic. And that's why I think it's so good, because you could go mining and someone could strike gold and get a whole bunch, and you could get nothing. And you could try to winter there and still get nothing. Like, it's fun. Even when you're losing, you're still having a good time, like hoping like, yeah, come on, let's get some gold. There's some quartz in there. It's just a fun game. Again, pretty easy to play, easier for people to learn. And that theme, people can really catch on to and they get excited about. So that's my number 83, Fool's Gold.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think it's higher on my list, but again, I have no idea.
Didn't we just get this for like a song? Like we found it randomly.
Yeah, Black Friday was at one game store, it was like $5 or something.
They've got it on the geek market for like $15. People need to be snatching this game up. It's good.
I don't understand what people don't like about it. It's fantastic. It's push your luck with some worker placement. Like, it's so good. I don't get it. All right, so my number 82 is one of the worker placement games that people would call a classic, I guess. Most people know about it. A lot of gamers have played it, and it is called Lords of Waterdeep. And this is a worker placement game set in the D&D universe. That's all I know about it. That's all I'm going to talk about that. But effectively what it is you are placing workers out on these locations and collecting different color cubes, which means something in the D&D world. Who cares? And you're spending those cubes to fulfill these missions. Like certain missions will need certain color cubes, may need some money, may need, other types of things. And then you're getting points. And you're trying to get the most points throughout the game. You're also trying to meet this objective that you have. This like your Lord of Waterdeep. They have a certain extra way they're going to give you some points. If you use the expansion, it's going to add some corruption, which adds some push your luck, which is awesome. And I'm terrible at it, but I love it. It's such a good game. It's simple, but yeah, it's fun, and there's enough to keep you engaged, even though it is fairly simple. And that is my number 82, Lords of Waterdeep.
Yeah, this one just outside my top 100. We played it not that long ago, and I was like, man, this is quality. This is good. My number 82 is a game we don't own, but we borrowed it and played it like a crap ton. And I think I'm obsessed with it just because of the chunky parts, and that is Juicy Fruits. So in Juicy Fruits, you have your own little island, and you are moving your little baskets around to collect fruit. And you're using the fruit to fulfill these goals, to get some boats off the side, to get points, to make some soda pop and move along the track for points there. You can make smoothies and milkshakes for points, build other types of buildings on your island via the fruits. But the fruit, like there's a bunch of different types, and they're all like these really thick, like chunky wooden pieces that I freaking can't stop playing with, and I love so much. And like the puzzle of how to get the most out of each action to get the most fruit at the right time and what to cash in for. And there's so many different ways to win. It's so good, and it's like pleasing to look at. And that is my number 82, Juicy Fruits.
Yeah, this is a good game. We did play that a lot. It's fun.
We did.
All right, so my number 81 is a big What's Your Game game. And I think I snagged it up in a trade this year, and I've played it mostly online.
Did you play it online with Fred? Because you haven't played it with me.
No, I haven't played it with Fred, and I've only played it in real life, like as like a 2-player solo game. And it is called Madeira, or Madeira, however you want to say it. And this is, I'm going to try to explain it the best I can, because it's a beast. This is a game about putting workers into these different locations, that are dice. You're going to use these dice that you're drafting to put in different locations to take the actions of these locations. Then based on another phase that comes around, you're going to have to pay income based on where you put these dice down. You may also be able to get some dice out of the jail, which will allow you to take extra actions. You're also trying to ship some goods on these, like to the either domestic or foreign markets to score extra points. It's a huge, complex Euro. I haven't played it forever. It's a lot to even remember, but I remember the times I did play it. I loved it, and it stuck with me. So it made my top 100, and that's number 81, Madeira. You were
talking about markets and things that made me think of Murray Wallace, so I'm not sure if I'm not already prejudiced against it.
It's a What's Your Game. It doesn't feel anything like Martin Wallace. It's just like by shipping, you put your worker on a space, you say, hey, I'm going to get rid of this wheat, and I'm going to get some money. Like that's what it is.
Okay. So my number 81, and the last one I'm going to talk about today, is a game that there are two versions of, and I would rank them both the same, even though I'm partial to the old and busted. And that is Libertalia. So Libertalia is a game, simultaneous action selection game about pirates. Everyone starts with the same kind of pirates. Each pirate has a number and then a power that's activated when it's played. When it's played or in a certain phase. And there are several phases, but you're trying to play pirates that'll play off of each other, off of other people's pirates, so that you can get the best booty, and that you can not get stuck with like cursed stuff, that you can, keep your ship, your crew from being assassinated, just scrambling to get the most points, the most doubloons, be the best pirate. I love a good pirate theme. I also like games that function like this, where you all have the same hand of cards that have these special powers that fire off in different ways. Like I love trying to outthink people, and how is that going to work? If they play this, then I play this. Also, I think it keeps people engaged because it's that simultaneous action selection. So I like using this with people that maybe have shorter attention spans or don't like to listen to lots of rules. And it's like, here's what the cards do. Pick one. Like, again, very easy as far as what the actual turns are composed of, but really, I think cool choices that really require thinking. So it's both deep and easy at the same time. Like, I really like that. And I like equally both the new Stonemeyer version, as well as I'm maybe a little bit more partial to the old and busted version from somebody. I don't know who published it.
Yeah, I don't actually know that either. It's some random company. It's behind me. Let me look.
What? I just thought I didn't know it because I don't know anything.
It's Marabunta. Marabunta. Yeah, I have no idea. Never heard of that company before.
No, me either. But this is Paolo More, who I'm a fan of as a designer. I do know that.
He's solid.
Yeah. All right, so those are our next installment of 10 games. Jace, will you count us down for your numbers 90 to 81?
Yep, let me scroll back up to the top here so I can get to it. My number 90 is the Palaces of Carrara. My number 89 is Port Royal. My number 88 is Colosseum. My number 87, Puerto Rico. 86, the Taverns of Tiefenthal. 85, Hallertau. 84, Victorian Masterminds. 83, The Lord of the Rings. 82, Lords of Waterdeep. And 81, Madeira.
And my number 90 is Walking in Burano. 89, Smartphone Inc. 88, Toledo. 87, Search for Planet X. 86, The Bloody Inn. 85, Bargain Quest. 84, Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. 83, Fool's Gold. 82, Juicy Fruits. And 81, Libertalia. So that's our next installment of our top 100. We've made it through the 80s already. What do you think is going to be our number one? Are you working on your top 100? Please, we'd love to hear it. Please share it with us. Our Facebook page, our Facebook group, hashtag The Riveted, awesome place. I just love seeing pictures and posts of what people are playing, what people are getting. Maybe some Christmas wish lists could go out there. That would be really fun to talk through. We've got a Discord server that or chat or whatever they call it that you can message with. We've got Twitter, we've got Instagram, and of course the YouTubes. Hopefully within the next week or so, we're going to start video series of our top 100 outside the 100 as I'm like finishing up some classwork. Is there anything else?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, just
no, don't. I was like, once again, I've opened it up for you to say something, and I'm like, no, it's going down. Woo!
No, I have nothing else. There we go. How about that? I have nothing else.
That sounds great. So I think that's all for this week. I've been Katie.
And I'm Jason.
Keep gaming, everybody.
Keep gaming.
This is like the episode about your tawdry online gaming affair with Fred.